All right.
Hakuna Matata. We live yet? We are live. I gotta type in chat.
Please alive.
Does Jimmy have to do that when he uses Zoom? He gotta type in the chat?
Yeah,
Okay. So it's not just me.
it's not
Okay,
just you.
good to know.
No, not just you. Yeah, I was reading a thing, speaking of, about like a lot of just sordid like injuries
Uh-huh.
that happened at the Cecil. So it wasn't just like the weird deaths and stuff. Like apparently like a lot of people they had like a lot of heart attacks there where the people lived, but like just
Well, that could
random.
be, yeah, that could be from the drug use, though, from Skid
Right.
Row, the heart attacks.
Right. And they didn't really say like in the video I watched, they didn't really say like they just kind of went down a list like there's been 1,500 fall or 15 falls or something like that. You know what I mean? So they really didn't
Uh-huh.
like have a
Hello, Seth.
hey Seth.
We're just trying to wait for a few more people to come in before we start. I need to be on live chat. That would help.
Yep. Live chat me too.
Live chat. Live chat, man. I like your new icon, Seth.
Oh yeah. Very interesting. What is that supposed to be, Seth? Is that an alien or like just a mask? Like it almost looks like a what is that big party they do in New Orleans? Mardi Gras. It almost just looks like a Mardi Gras mask.
Why won't you let me change the thumbnail?
I don't know why it won't let you change the thumbnail.
It don't like me.
It must not
It's gotta
like
be
you,
it. It just
Lisa.
don't like me.
I don't think it likes you.
Okay, Bashful's here.
Oh,
Somebody gotta like me. There's gotta be somebody out there that likes me.
oh, Bashful has made it. Oh, it's the Joker. That's funny that you changed that, Seth. I was watching while we wait for people to arrive. I was watching on the network Table for Three,
Uh-huh.
and it was Sting, Chris, not Chris Jericho, Jeff Jarrett, and AJ Styles. I never realized that Sting played like a Joker character. Apparently, like he changed his face paint in TNA at one point towards the end to like the
Oh,
Joker.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah. I was
Did
like,
not know
and
that.
he said that was like a favorite character of people's. I'm like, shit, can't be, because I don't remember that character. I didn't really watch TNA
Hello,
regularly
Mark.
anyway. Mark, hello.
Hey, Mark.
We're just we're just trying to wait for a few minutes for everyone to know that we're here. Cause YouTube, you don't
That's
like
cool.
us, and they don't send out notifications every often. Fuckers.
Is that a Mickey Mouse on your fridge or is that
Yeah,
uh
that's a cookie jar. It's a cookie
okay.
jar.
I'm like, I can't tell if it's the snowman
Nope,
Olaf or if it's a Mickey Mouse.
it's a Mickey Mouse. Yep.
Does he talk when you open the lid?
No.
I have a dog cookie jar that barks when you open the lid. It was my
I seen
mother-in-law's.
I seen those. All right, we got 2 people in here.
I'm one
There's a
of them.
lot of
Let me-
people
let
live
me-
right now. Like a
I
lot of
know.
people.
Yeah.
Fucking people, don't they know that Fridays are supposed to be for us? Goddamn people.
I'm gonna go share in Discord.
Damn, at least you would say that now. I just closed out the damn YouTube page.
I saw it. I was about to share it in Jenna's part.
Forgot to share.
Oh, never mind. Somebody shared already. A Nightbot shared, and
Oh, that was
how do they
nice.
do that?
What?
How do they get the Nightbot to share our stream? That's in the
Your
Nightbot. That's cool. The Nightbot thing with Bucha that's in Discord they set up. I think it's pretty freaking cool. Okay, so basically Bashful, we left off last week where we gave him an introduction and we started naming off some of the names that died in the Cecil Hotel and how they died. I brought the list back up and I found where I left off. So
Okay.
I was going to screen share that list if you wanted to look on your list so you can tell where we left off. Let me find it. No, don't you do. Okay. So read this. So we left off at the Alicia Lowell. She's still the unidentified woman. That's where we left off. So
And when did she die?
She died right after the pigeon lady, I think.
she
Okay.
died December 20th, 1975.
75. Okay.
So I'm going to share that list. So if anyone comes in, they can see the list that we're running off. Can you see it?
Not yet. It's a black. Up there it goes.
Okay.
I was gonna say it's a black list that says it's a black page that says Lisa is sharing.
Oh, there was one right after Elisa Liam.
Oh yeah, huh?
Wow. I didn't know about that
Oh,
one.
and no name. The body of a 28-year-old man. Ah.
You know what, the one that was when we were reading this list off Bashful that creeped me out the most was the woman that threw the baby out the window.
Yeah.
Like, how do you not know? Look, I've been pregnant 3 times, and there are signs that you're pregnant, especially after the first trimester.
Mhm.
So you went through your whole pregnancy and didn't know you were pregnant,
Right? Like there
Like,
was never a
there is women-
question. Like
right? There is women that can, because I'm one of them. My first 3 or 4 months of my pregnancy, I still have what a lot of women consider their menstrual cycle.
right. My
But
mother
it's
was the
not.
same way.
My mother was too. So the first 3 months I had my period. So I always found out I was pregnant after my 3 months
Yeah.
because I didn't think nothing of it. But after that, I got tested because I started getting the symptoms, the nausea, like I couldn't smell coffee in one of my pregnancies or I would throw up. Tuna fish. My ex-husband and my daughter would want me to make tuna fish for them for their lunches. And my ex would have to make the tuna fish because I couldn't. It was
Yeah.
with CJ, I would throw up. With Izzy, I couldn't touch raw meat. I would get sick. So how do you not? Hello,
Right.
West Haven.
Or like something simple, like I know my mother said with my older sister, she got a regular period. She was like, it may not have been as long as my normal period. She's like, but I still bled every month.
Right.
She was like, but then I noticed that I was gaining weight.
Right.
And that's what made me suspect that I was pregnant again.
And the cravings
She's like, so I went to the doctor. Right.
The cravings are like, they're not exaggerating. Like, you crave the weirdest shit when you're pregnant. Like,
yep.
And you want it at the oddest times.
It's really actually not uncommon, though, for women to go all the way to delivery without ever realizing that they're pregnant. It's a very common thing.
Yeah, I know it's common. I know it's common just being pregnant 3 times. I wanted to be, well, no, I don't, but I would like to know I was pregnant and not have all the symptoms. That would have been nice.
Right, but you don't want to go to the bathroom one day and just think that you're regularly going to the baby out.
Right. That's why I said, I would want to know I'm pregnant, not, but not have the symptoms like they did. That would have been nice.
Hello, Josie.
A friend that delivered a baby. It was halfway delivered, like he was coming out when he walked in the room, and she just went to the bathroom, and all of a sudden this thing starts coming out. And so she started screaming at him to come in there, and he helped her deliver the baby.
And that baby clearly wasn't a big baby because CJ was he was almost 9 pounds. I couldn't, by the end of my pregnancy, I couldn't put my shoes on without, if my ex-husband wasn't there to help me get my shoes on, I literally had to grab my leg and pull it up because I couldn't bend over. Like, I was huge for my oldest son. Hello, beautiful Josie.
Yeah, like
mute myself for just a second.
Like Bashful said, I know that I've heard a few stories of women, but at some point, a lot of the stories I've heard, at some point they realize they're pregnant.
Like I said, that's the story. One of the deaths that bothers me the most, because you just toss that baby and for it to land, because we showed everybody last week, for it to land on the building next door, like you had to toss that baby
like a football.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm sure it's possible, that you could have had the mental breakdown because, it's extremely common for women to get postpartum depression. And for some women it happens before you have the baby. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if she didn't know she was pregnant, she didn't get that bond a mother gets while carrying that child.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because like when you're pregnant, you look for the movements and.
My question is, how is her boyfriend in the room with her? Now, I've contractions and labor is extremely, extremely painful.
Right? How did she not wake him up?
And I've had it where my daughter, I gave birth to her natural. No drugs, no epidural, natural. Now, the head hurts like a motherfucker coming out. But if there is nobody there to turn the baby's shoulders so they're like
they're gonna get stuck.
And not only that, but I'm gonna tell you my story with Isabel. The doctor disappeared. And Isabel's head was coming out. And they didn't numb or nothing down there, so the friction from her head coming in and out was starting to burn me, along with the contractions and the pain. So I'm getting very pissed off. And I looked over at Charlie, that's my ex-husband, and I said, if this doctor don't come soon, I'm pushing without her. The nurse that was with me the whole time looked at me and she said, Lisa. I said, yes. She said, let me explain this to you, with your husband standing right next to you. If you push without the doctor being here, she said, one or two things can happen. Your daughter will get stuck and then it's emergency surgery, or your daughter will come out because Isabel was persistent trying to come out. She'll come out with her shoulders like this, not like this, and your vagina will never be the same again. There's an amount of stitches in the world we can put to fix it. Charlie looked at me and was like, "You're not pushing." I was like, "Okay, I'm not pushing." So it would, so even if the baby got stuck, it the baby, if the it could damage her. She could have bled a lot, like a lot.
Right. She could have bled out. Yeah.
Because she could have been ripped. And I know this sounds disgusting, but she could have been ripped from her vag to her butt. And I'm not talking like ripped. And that's a lot of bleeding. You know what I mean? So, and you're in the other room, she's having contractions, because them contractions are no joke.
No.
And once the head starts coming out and them shoulders come, even when they turn the shoulders, that shit hurts like a motherfucker. You know what I mean? And even when you have the epidural, you feel them shoulders come out. Right. Because the epidural is designed to start wearing off as you're starting to push the baby out. So by the time you start pushing, you're feeling all that pressure, all that pain. And it don't numb your vagina, it numbs your back and legs.
Right.
You know what I mean? So how did she not wake him? Like, how did he not hear it? Like,
right.
How did you, if you didn't know you were pregnant and you didn't know what was going on, I would have been scared to death.
Right. I would have woke him up just because I would have been panicked, not knowing what was happening. Right.
And then you both die? Like, I don't
remember if they said full term or not.
Yeah, I don't think they said whether or not she was full term. But the baby was long term enough that it had developed lungs. Right. Because the coroner said there was air in the baby's lungs when it died.
Well, I'm going back to look now.
And again, different women have different pain tolerances.
Yeah.
Oh no, she didn't die. Really. That's right. She didn't die. She was brought up on charges for the murder of the baby, but then was found not guilty by reason of insanity. Mm-hmm. She thought the baby was dead.
Yeah.
But still, how did you not? Like, that pain is excruciating. Like, I get it. I'm not going to judge her because, you know, everyone's different. But how did he not wake up? Like, that pain is excruciating. Like, I don't.
Some women don't. It's not that way for them, though. Like, my aunt said it was like, and she's a teeny tiny little lady. Like, she's not even 5 foot tall. And on her best day, weighed 95 pounds. And she said it's like pushing out worms. Like, it was nothing.
But she was at the hospital, right? She was at the hospital, right? That's where they were able to position the baby.
It's back in the 70s where they give you a little bit of gas and that was it. I mean,
right, but she was there where they were able to turn the baby and the shoulders could come out, right? You know what I mean? You don't, the baby, man, them shoulders. I like my, if the baby comes straight out, like imagine our shoulders. If we came straight out of a vagina like that, can you imagine that pain? That's why they turn you so the shoulders come out like this and not out like this.
But women do.
Hey, my sexy sister.
All the time.
Yeah, they do.
I know, but I couldn't. That was the most painful. Like, after the shoulders, it was cake. Them shoulders, man. That's what I'm stuck on with her. Like, I can't. There had to been. Oh my God. Okay, moving on. For those of you that don't know what we're talking about, and you wasn't here last week, we are talking about the Cecil Hotel in California, which is located right dab smack in the middle of Skid Row. The biggest story right now for the Cecil Hotel is Elisa Lam. We don't really want to discuss her too much. We just want to talk about other incidents and craziness that has happened in the Cecil Hotel. Because, you know, it's tragic what happened to this young lady, but her story's been told and been played out by everybody. So everyone already knows her story and everyone's forgetting about everybody else's story and the story of the hotel itself. So that's kind of what we want to do. Okay.
So I was reading on, I know you already passed the pigeon lady, but Goldie, but I was reading on her case, and that same year, just like within months of when they found her dead, they found another woman at another hotel that had been stabbed. And then there was another lady, like in April that year, that she was another bird lady. She fed birds at a different park than what Goldie did. That they found her body stabbed. So it, like this sounds kind of like a serial killer situation.
Right.
So that would be, in that case, that would be the third serial killer that they kind of
Connected to the hotel.
yeah, connected to that hotel.
Now the bird lady and this other woman, was their bodies found after the other two serial killers were found, or was it around the same time? Before?
Yeah, Goldie was dead. Goldie was found dead like
It was
1964.
I was gonna say it was like the 60s and 70s. The two mass murderers were in the 80s.
Okay.
Unless it was the same person that killed what's her face? The actress.
The Dalai Lama.
Yeah. Well, the Black Dahlia.
Black Dahlia.
Yeah, Black Dahlia. There we go.
Yeah.
Hello, Ken. Well, that's why we're doing a stream. So this week tonight we're gonna finish up where we left off last week. Bashful was kind of put her 2 cents in because this stream is her idea. And then next week, me and Doris decided that because of current events that we noticed on YouTube, we're gonna go into the Netflix documentary and cover the rock star who was on YouTube and how his life was literally destroyed by people on YouTube and internet detectives accusing him of murdering Elisa Lama, and he was there the year prior to her.
Yeah.
So because of current events on YouTube lately, we feel that it's important. Not that it's going to change anything, but this isn't a perfect example of how the YouTube bullying and taking shit off what is told on the internet and pretending like it could possibly even be true without concrete evidence can destroy an individual's life, because that literally destroyed his life.
Yeah.
Like even right now.
Like literally all these people had was a video or a picture he took and a little video he put on his YouTube page of his room at the Cecil Hotel. They didn't bother like looking at any dates or researching when he was there. They just like connected it all to Alyssa Lamb and said he killed her because of the type of music that he wrote.
And because he stayed in the Cecil Hotel.
Yeah.
But that is the story we're going to cover next Friday. Right now, we're going to continue where we left off last week and let Bashful add what she wants to add to the story, since she couldn't make it last week because the stream was on chat. Okay. Okay. So what did you want to continue on with, Bashful?
Well, you can start like where you finished off last week, and I'll just.
All right. So on December 20th, right here, we're gonna. I don't know if everyone can see it. Let me see if I can't make it bigger. I don't know. Let's see. Can I zoom in? No. Yeah. Right, Ken. All right. So on December 20th, 1975, Alicia Lowell, approximately 23 years old, death at the Cecil Hotel. These are all deaths at the Cecil Hotel. If you guys have any questions about other deaths that were in the Cecil Hotel that we covered last week, just ask us and we'll talk about it again. She fell from the building. It says a still unidentified woman from her 24th window onto the Cecil second floor roof. She had registered at the hotel on December 16th under the name Alicia Lowell and was staying in room 327. Okay. Thank you, Ken. On December 1st, 1992, age approximately 20 to 30, it was a death again in the Cecil Hotel, fell from the building. The body of an African-American man was found in the alley behind the Cecil. Police said he had either fallen, jumped, or been pushed from the hotel's 15th floor. The 20 to 30-year-old male has never been identified. Question. Hey, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Now, me, you, Bashful, we watch enough of these crime show thingamaboochers to know, even back in 1992, how can they not figure out this man's approximate age?
Maybe if he was a drug addict or if he was homeless and malnourished, that would affect the aging of his body and his system.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Lisa. I don't understand.
And if he was on them streets and they tested his fingerprints, he had to be in VICAP.
Right. So they
If he had
had
a
to have
criminal
been
record,
able to
how was he still?
Right.
Right. Something, dental record, something. It's
Especially
just, this is
in
my thing.
Especially
Right,
in
in
1992,
they already
because
had all
they
that.
had fingerprinting, and I could see like
Right.
in the 70s or 60s where they had to have your fingerprints to start with to be able to match them to something. But
And I learned this from Criminal Minds, because that is one of my favorite shows. And I learned this from oh man, huh? Oh, what's his name? He's my favorite character. How did I forget his name? Reed. I learned this from Reed.
Oh, Reed.
And I Googled it just to see if it was true. You can find out an age from an individual's bones. It's almost like a tree trunk.
Yeah. The rings
inside their bone, you can tell their age by the bone marrow and the thickness of the bone.
Right.
Because the older you get, the thinner your bones get.
Right. Well, and that's what I meant by like malnourished or a drug user, because both would affect the growth of their bones. If you're malnourished and you're not getting vitamin D or calcium, your bones aren't going to grow like they should a normal person.
We're talking about LA County, where they have like, I don't know, tons of deaths every day. And this was an African-American man. They really didn't care, to be honest. Right. That's what happened. They just didn't really care.
Yeah, and he like
and because it was, and like we said last week, Bashful, me and Doris kept saying, where this hotel is located, it's kind of like in that show The Wire that HBO used to have, where the last 2 seasons, the commissioner just took all the drug dealers, all the prostitutes, all the drug addicts, and put them all in one neighborhood, a few blocks in Baltimore, and told them, if you keep all your shit here and it don't leave these blocks, we won't fuck with you.
Right.
And they didn't. Well, yeah, that's kind of like what Skid Row is. They put them all there and they don't bother with them. Like the woman on the documentary said, you can call the cops and have them come to the Cecil Hotel or whatever, and it can take them forever to get there if they even come at all.
Yeah. Right. Well, and like kind of touching on what Bashful said, I remember I watched this one police show and they had said like at one certain point, probably like around the 90s, 80s, if you were homeless or you were a prostitute and you were found dead, sometimes like they wouldn't even investigate it because there was a term he used. It was something like LDM, meaning life doesn't matter. Right. Because they were homeless or a prostitute or so they wouldn't even like bother opening a case on it.
Well, this guy, they didn't even know if he fell, he jumped, or even pushed. Right. Like they didn't even investigate that.
They did no investigation at all. Like they didn't even bother, you know?
Because as we know, they could tell by how far his body is away from the building. Whether it was more likely he fell or jumped or.
This is crazy. All right, so the next one is Elisa Lamb. She's the one everyone's been talking about lately. So I'm gonna read her story, and if those of you have any questions, we'll answer them. So on February 19th, 2013, Elisa Lamb, 21, death, accidental drowning. It says the naked body of Lamb, a Canadian student, was found inside one of the water supply tanks on the hotel roof. She had gone missing almost 3 weeks earlier on January 31st, 2013. Her decomposing body was discovered by a maintenance worker in one of the rooftop water tanks after guests had complained about the low water pressure and the water that tasted funny. Video surveillance footage took from inside the elevator shortly before her disappearance showed her acting strangely, pressing multiple elevator buttons, hiding in the corner of the elevator, and waving her arms wildly, causing widespread speculation about the cause of her death. After the elevator video was released, many theories arose about Lamb's death. She was reported to have had bipolar disorder, for which she was prescribed various medications, which could have contributed to her death, as well as her strange behavior in the elevators. Authorities later ruled Lamb's death as an accidental drowning. Dorito! Last week, Dorito was very helpful with us.
Like he just said, we're talking
Bashful,
about
because he knows the area very well.
And he just said, we're talking about the LAPD, the biggest gang in Southern California.
True.
Right. Yeah, he helped us a lot last week, Bashful.
Yeah, because he's been there and like he's seen Skid Row.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't live far from there, he said. So he was able to like help us describe everything and how it still is run today. And
well, thank you, Dorito. Go melt into sleep.
Okay, Dorito. Thank you for popping in, though. Hope
Thank
you feel
you.
better. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is the last death, and this is the last death, 15th of 2015. 20-year-old suspect to have fallen from the building. Suspected. The body of a 26-year-old man was found outside the hotel. Some conjectured he may have committed suicide by jumping from the hotel. Los Angeles Times that the cause of death has not been determined.
Yeah, and that manager that is on the Netflix series, she said in her 10 years being the manager of the hotel, she predicted that there's probably 80 deaths total. Yeah. So this is just like the ones that, you know, they considered either murder, suicide, or
suspicious.
That's not counting your drug overdoses or any of that, or natural causes, or Yeah.
And she said too that it was very common for them to have to call 911 3 times a day.
Right.
At least. Right. For like drug overdoses or fights or.
I can't remember what year it was, and I don't know why I didn't write it down. But at one point, they sold the hotel, and the new owners were going to go in there and renovate things and make it a more upscale, safer hotel.
Yeah.
And the city literally pulled their permits and
said,
no.
Yeah, Dorito said. Dorito told us last week that the owner city said that half of the hotel has to stay affordable housing.
Yep. So they have to allow the homeless to stay there. They can't get rid of the residential rooms. So they have to keep, I think it was like a third of the hotel or something like that.
Yeah, we read it last week. Let me see if it's still have the notes.
But like a certain number of their rooms.
I read it last week.
Yeah.
Hey, damn it, Jenna.
Jenna.
Yeah, I read it last week, and now I gotta go.
Yep, it's kicking in. Woo! But yeah, that was after that manager started when they made the stay on Main.
Yeah.
So they changed. What they did was they allotted. I think she said floors 1 to 4 the stay on Main, and then everything above 4 was like the residential or something like that.
Well, now it's a hospital.
This is what it says.
Uh-oh. This is what she did to me last week, Bashful.
So this is what, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so it says the stay on Main, formerly the Cecil Hotel, Hotel Cecil, and the informal The Cecil is a budget hotel in downtown Los Angeles, located at 640 South Main Street. Opened on December 20th, 1924. The 15-floor hotel has 700 guest rooms. The hotel has a checkered history with many suicide deaths occurring here. As of 2017, it was being renovated.
Renovated.
Thank you. Renovated and redeveloped into a mix of hotel rooms and residential units. It is not currently open yet.
Yeah, because they just resold it in 2017. And they still got like something like $80 million for it, or something like that. We read,
Right?
or $1.8 million. It was something crazy like that.
And this article has all the they're talking about all the drug overdoses too.
I just think it's insane that someone can take their money and invest it into a business, and then the government come in there and say, yeah, okay, you think you're going to run the business though you want to, we're going to take over.
Well, we were talking about that last week too, Bashful. They're doing, and even Dorito said they're doing that because 2 or 3 blocks surrounding that area, they're making lofts and art studios and stuff. So they want them to stay on Skid Row more than ever right now. They don't want them coming off there because it's going to mess up their development.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'd be so pissed.
Right.
And do what I wanted to.
Dorito said last week. Dorito told us last week that they were paying people to leave Skid Row, but they were coming right back. The money would run out, and they were going right back.
Right. Well, yeah, until you actually fix the problem with and why they're on the streets, they're just going to keep returning to the streets.
Yeah.
They've had situations where, like, people won the lottery, and within, a couple years, they've went through everything and they're back on the streets again. It's like, you got to fix the actual problem.
Right. And we were talking about that last week, and it's just because they know that you can easily get drugs there. You can basically get anything you want. So until they clean that up, it's going to be hard for them to clean up the homeless thing.
Right. Yeah, you don't fix a person's problem by just handling money. You got to figure out what is driving the problem and then work around that. In most of the cases, it's mental health issues, and we just don't have a lot of. I can't say that about Tennessee. I feel like Tennessee's got some pretty good mental health resources for people who are low incomed. But in that area, they don't. Yep, they drop them right off on the streets.
And then they come steal our shit. Then they go back to Skid Row. That's what Dorito was telling us last week.
Yeah.
And they probably steal the shit to go back to get away back there.
They're trying their best to push the homeless out of Nashville and into the surrounding areas, so it's not so, the population is not so concentrated. But maybe set them off to Slab City. We have
But
a
here's
tip.
my thing, like, but let's. I don't like in my hometown in New York. A lot of our homeless problem is because they shut down some of the psych centers, and then they put them out in the street. Some went into other facilities, and then the other ones that they deemed could live on their own, they put them out in the street, and they had no idea. So now they're homeless, and instead of like trying to push them somewhere else in some other part of town, why don't we do something to fix that problem? You know, like don't put them somewhere else and push them to some other town or city. Fix it. You know, the people that came from the psych wards and the mental institutions that were closed down, you guys put them there. They didn't choose to be there. They had nowhere else. They have nowhere else to go.
Well, we had a mayor that took away a lot of people's medical insurance, and that, you know, first couple years after he did that, our homeless population like skyrocketed because people didn't have mental health resources, and so they were just on the streets.
Right. Or like at the prison, a lot of the guys that we released, they have nowhere to go.
Right.
So they're basically going to, unless they're going on parole, where the state and the prison will help them find housing, because they usually have to be in some type of halfway house or living. They have to have a set address basically. But other than that, if they finish their bid, they're basically dropped off at the train station and given like $75 and I like, see ya.
Yep.
Because taxpayers don't want to pay for facilities to help others. It's retarded to me. It is.
Yep.
This is, I don't know. But we'll go into other countries that we fought wars and fucked up, and we go help them rebuild. And then we'll go to countries that's trying to destroy us, and we go help them. You know what I mean? But we're not doing what we need to do in our own soil, in our own home. You know?
And the sad reality of it is
I said a lot of the homeless are veterans.
Yep, that's what I was fixing to say. That's they're veterans, and we're not taking care of these men.
Yep.
Even if they do have a drug issue or whatever, like we still should be taking care of these men and trying to help them.
Right. Because it's like, if you think about it, would they really have a drug issue if they didn't see combat? You know what I mean? Like a lot of them are probably taking drugs just to forget what they saw.
Well, they were given drugs back in Vietnam so they could go and do what they did, because they couldn't get these young men to go in there and do the horrible things they had to do without being drugged up. So our government gave them dope.
Right. And that wasn't just our army. Hitler did it with his army. China did it with their military. So it wasn't just us doing it. It was a thing to do. You know what I mean? So they got them addicted and then sent them home. And then like in Vietnam War, they dropped them bombs and then they come home to nothing because that was a war the American people didn't like. And a lot of them got hated because they went and fought the war. And then later on in life, they got sick with Agent Orange and other health issues from them dropping them bombs. You know what I mean? And we just left them to die.
Right. That's true, Dustin. Not just being homeless doesn't mean that you're poor. There's a lot of people that just walk away from their lives because they're in such a horrible mental state that they just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
I know I've seen a lot of stories where, like Bashful said, they're in such a mental state they don't want to be a burden on their family, so they would rather be homeless than have to deal with other people. At least they can move when they need to, and
they give you a bus ticket.
And the other thing that aggravates me too is the way, like Doris touched on it a little bit earlier, is the way the prostitutes are treated. If they're found murdered or dead, it's, oh, she was just a prostitute. Well, just because she's out there doesn't mean that she wanted to be out there, you know? And with today's day and age, there's young ladies being sex trafficked and made to be put on them streets.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Am I still here?
Yeah.
So instead of just thinking they chose to be there, it's a mental health issues too, you know, for them women too, you know, like that just because they're prostitutes or they're homeless or they're drug addicts doesn't make them less human than us, you know? There's reasons behind every story,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
So my sister-in-law's dad was murdered in his home.
I mean, it doesn't give him a right. Mm-hmm.
He was murdered in his home. These people came in his house in the middle of the night and ended up shooting him, killing him in the floor. And when the cops came in there and did their investigation, they found marijuana in the house. No joke, because they determined that this was a drug issue. The people that killed him got less time because they looked at him like a drug dealer, and he wasn't a drug dealer. Weed head. He smoked a lot of pot, like, because he had a certain amount of weed. I think he had like an ounce in his house. Like that, like, they determined that he was a dope dealer, and it was a dope deal gone bad, and so these people got less time, and that wasn't what it was about at all.
And like back home in New York, they started there for 2-3 years. A lot of people were dying on heroin, and that's when they first started putting more fentanyl in the heroin than there was heroin, and it was killing people. It was exploding people's heart, whatever. It was killing them, and it got to the point where they started, if they caught the drug dealer that sold the drugs to the person that died, the drug dealer was getting charged with murder. And there was a big controversy over that. Me, I was for it because you know that you're selling a product that is killing people. You know it's no good, but you're still selling it. So it's like this: if Ford or whatever car dealership sells a defaulted car and they know it has problems and they're still selling it and it's killing people, they're going to be reliable for the person's life that's lost in that car.
Yep.
So what makes you any different?
Oh, I agree.
You know?
But
so
I'm biased because of my situation with my brother, but I definitely agree. I think it knowingly you're out there slinging dope and you're killing people, then you need to pay your consequences just the same as those people had to pay their consequences for doing the dope.
So Bashful, I fucking love you, Alexis says.
You bish.
So is there any questions about the Cecil Hotel? There is some paranormal stuff that people have been diving into in the Cecil Hotel, especially Alicia's room. They said that there's a lot of stuff that happens in the room she stayed in. Like they'll walk out of the room, turn the light off, and then they'll see from the window that the room's light is back on and nobody's in there.
There's been some YouTubers that
and in my opinion,
go ahead.
Go on, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say there's a lot of YouTubers that are claiming that they have her on EVP too, in her room or in the hotel.
Right, and Ghost Adventures has been there. There's a few other people that are going to be going there. And because I do believe in the paranormal, with all that death and even the one drug addict that was homeless that stayed in the Cecil Hotel back in the 80s and stuff said you didn't want to stay past the 15th floor because if you went past the 15th floor, bad things happened.
Nope.
And everyone knew it.
Yeah, his exact words were, that's where they threw people out the windows. And me and Lisa were talking last week about if you notice, a lot of the deaths are falls from top floors. So it makes you a little suspicious if it's the drug dealers that are throwing people out, because he said like they have prostitutes up there and they'll rob you, they'll beat you, they'll throw you out a window.
And if you owe a drug dealer money and you owe them a lot of money, that's 10 to what they're going to do. So if they want you dead, they're going to go to the highest floor. And one of them that was possibly jumped or tossed off the building. And we showed you guys the picture of the Cecil Hotel, how it's designed. There's no way from the window that supposedly that dude was throwing at us that he landed on a building next door. He would have went down. He wouldn't have went that way. So he was tossed. There's no like, Twisted. I do too, very much.
Me too.
So.
What about the lady that jumped? Like, I think she was the second, like, suspicious, or the second suicide that they listed. The lady that jumped and landed on the poor guy that was just walking down the street.
Yeah, we talked about
that.
That bothered me so bad.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Originally,
I was gonna bring that up too. That one bothered me too.
Yeah, originally they thought they both.
That started like
window.
a half-hour conversation last week.
Right.
Yeah.
Originally,
that started
they thought,
a whole like half hour. But after I read it, they were like, "What? Holy shit! That's a bad day to go for a walk. He's minding his own business, walking his dog." Like,
yeah.
That's so sad.
Dyed your eyebrows.
Yeah, because originally they thought they both jumped out the window and then realized that his shoes were still on.
Yeah.
And apparently her shoes had come off in the fall.
Well, not even just in the fall. When you land, a lot of times your shoe comes off.
Right.
If not both. So
with Lisa,
your drug dealers. Hey.
With Elisa, like they said, okay, before a couple days before she came up missing, like her roommates were complaining because she was staying in the part of the hotel that they use like as a hostel. So she was in a room with 2 other people that she didn't know. And she started doing some weird things like putting notes on their stuff, telling them to get out and all kinds of stuff. And so what the hotel did is they gave her own private room because I think she's only gonna be there one more day. And if you look at what was going on with her, it does look like that she was having some kind of mental breakdown.
Right. And that's yeah.
And then the elevator itself, where she starts pushing all those buttons, they've, zoomed down close enough to realize that what she actually did push the door button. Yeah. And that's why the door
did open. Right. And even if she did hit that for the button on the elevator for the door to stay open, when you hit all them buttons at once, the door's not shut.
Now I'm not,
it's not.
The maintenance guy who went up there first before they called the police in, when he went to go check out the water, when he first reported this, he said the lid was off, and I guess he put the lid back on. So when the police came, the lid was on, and that's what everybody was freaking out. Like, how did she get up there, open that lid up, get in the tank, and then shut the lid herself? Now, I'm not convinced, because there were definitely people who would, use the fire escapes and climb up on top of the building and go up there and party and stuff. And I'm not convinced that she didn't wander up there and then something happened to her up there. Whoever was up there might have put her in the tank. But like, they didn't find any evidence of her being raped or anything like that. But again, she was in that water for a long time.
Well, Bashful. Then again, hold on, Bashful. Then again, if there was like no struggle or nothing, and she was in that psychotic break, her being in that water for so long, any DNA, even on the clothing, her body, and it is gone. Right. You know what I mean?
It didn't make sense to me why she took her clothes off, or even how she took her clothes off after she got in there. Why would she take her clothes off?
Well, they explain that. And it kind of makes sense to me. So even like when, and I just learned this on Criminal Minds too, and I had to look into it because of this. So like when you're in that water, you're going to get cold and hypothermia is going to set in. So again, read from Criminal Minds and we look into this because I kind of knew we were going to touch on this. When hypothermia sets in, your first instinct is to take your clothes off. For whatever reason, you're taking your clothes off.
Right.
So they are assuming that's what she did. Now, that water tank was being used by everybody in that hotel. So you got to realize it's spinning and it's kind of like a wave pool. You know what I mean? When they flush, when they're running the water, the laundry rooms. So there's water going in and coming out, going in and coming out. So there's constantly movement in that water. You know what I mean? So that would explain how, if she fell in, why she wouldn't be face up. I mean, face down. You know what I mean? If she was face up.
Yeah.
And even if that wasn't the case, if you're in water long enough, you start to bloat a little bit, and you're gonna turn. You know what I mean? So it kind of makes sense to me how her clothes got off, and they made it sound like she was butt naked. She wasn't butt naked, because when I looked into this more, she still had a bra and underwear on. So she had just took off her pants, her tank top, and the little hoodie she was wearing.
And
if you've ever tried to take your clothes off though in the water, that's not, especially when you can't touch bottom, that's not an easy task. And if that water's moving around, and she wasn't she wasn't a strong looking person. She looked very kind of frail. I don't know that I believe that she could get her clothes off while she was in.
And
yes. Okay, now Dustin, I'm gonna answer your question, Dustin. When they did the toxicology report, there was no illegal drugs in her system.
No, actually,
what they did find out was
she had less of her medication in her system than what she should have had in her system.
That's what I was just gonna say. She had less of her psych medication in her than what she was supposed to be taking.
Right. So she wasn't
later on, and when they went So later on, when they talked to her mother, father, and sister, they said it wouldn't be uncommon for what they saw in that video for her to be doing, because they had to have called the ambulance and authorities on her back home in Canada quite a few times because of it. She is bipolar and schizophrenic, and her level of bipolar is level 4, which is right below the highest you can be. Now, what everybody assumed was paranormal, and at first, I'm not gonna lie, before I knew about the fucking medication and all that, I thought she had some paranormal shit going on too. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, they got me. But her going through a mental breakdown in one of her episodes from not taking her psych meds, right, she had started hallucinating. And she was seeing things and imagining things that wasn't happening. And even before I knew about the psych meds, this was my question about her in the elevator. If somebody is after you and they're on that floor, why wouldn't you stay in the elevator and keep hiding like she was? Why would you then go out the elevator and stand right there and then like you're patting someone on the head and then take off down the hall? Why if someone was after you, why would you do that?
And Jenna, to respond to your comment about the maintenance guy, I have a better question. Why did the police check the water tank the day she went missing when they went up to the roof?
Yes.
They went to the roof.
And when they later talked to him in the documentary, he said the cops asked him about the water tower and was the lid on or off. And he said he told them the lid was off. He said he never once told them the lid was on. Good night, Al. Thank you for popping in.
He is the one who found her and then reported it to the police.
Yep. He said he didn't tell them the lid was on. He said he told them it was off.
So, like with kids are more obsessed. What's the word I'm looking for? They are more likely to see like paranormal things because their minds are more open to it, they say. Mm-hmm. So if there may be a possibility that somebody who's having a mental breakdown their brains may be more open to seeing paranormal things. She may have been seeing something out there, because I don't think that you have a location that has that many murders, suicides, what have you, that you're not going to end up with some kind of paranormal activity.
Right, that's what I was saying too. And especially from the 15th floor up, because that's what everyone says. Everything happens.
And
so
I think they may have just thought she was just tripping, and actually she was seeing something in there, and that's why she did go out and go down the hall. So because there was something there that was talking to her. I don't know.
Right.
But I definitely believe that hotel has a lot of paranormal activity.
And I watched a video the other day, and they actually brought up a good point. So when that video starts of her on the elevator, she's on the top floor. They never show how she got to the top floor. Like, they have no videotape of her getting up there.
Right.
They said that was the only part of the video she was ever seen on.
Yeah, because after that, there is no cameras.
Right, but there's still cameras, and they would have had her on an elevator previously going up to the top floor.
Well,
That's where she got on the elevator.
Well, not if she walked the stairs, because if she walked
Right,
the
but
stairs,
that's what his point was.
Right, there's no cameras in the stair. And then to get to the roof, she could have very easily walked out one of the windows and went up the fire escape and climbed up that way. She was tiny enough that, and she was bugged out enough that at that point she wouldn't have been scared.
And Diet Cola, we're covering that next week.
Thank you, Joe. Yes, I hate Diet Cola. Me and Doris and Bashful is going to be covering his story next week because, in light of everything that's happening on YouTube right now, that needs to be discussed. But we are going to be covering that next week. I hate Diet Cola. And I saw you. I didn't want to be rude, Joe. We were talking about something. Thank you very much. South Carolina porn, there you are, boo. People do have mental. All right, so I'm not going to mention names. So people that know the channel, well, people are part of this channel, can probably guess later on. We're not going to talk about it publicly. But this evening, when I was on my way to get my medicine, so I was able to talk and do this live stream, a very close person to the Roundtable is bipolar, is schizophrenic, and they have the same level as Elisa was. And hello, Maria Rita. And I spent an hour and a half, because she was in a manic, they were in a manic state. I spent an hour and a half talking to them and talking them out and explaining to the individual why their life was worth living. And the things that were coming out of this individual's mouth, to me and to us, don't make no sense. But to them, it made sense, you know? Mm-hmm. So, and I learned with this individual, because this isn't the first time I dealt with it with them. As much as you want to cry, you don't, because it's only going to make it worse. So I just cried when I got off the phone. But they very much, the brain don't function like ours do. You know what I mean? Like, and the things that this individual was saying and thought they were seeing and all that, to me and to you, it makes no sense, but to them, it's very real.
Right.
You know, like people that I know absolutely love and adore this person, she swore was out to get them. You know, they were like, I'm just like, because that's all you can do. And then eventually they went to sleep. So
yeah, that's sadly true that bipolar and schizophrenic people have higher rates of suicide. It's very sad.
Hello, the dude. Hello,
hey,
everyone
dude.
that joined new. So I kind of get where she would, but I thought she used some other drugs too. I swore she was tweaking. I did. I was like, she on something. Like, right. There's no way she's.
And that's what they thought originally too, because they were like, all she had to do was go outside and she could have gotten anything she wanted. And the things she was doing, she was acting like somebody that was tweaking.
Right.
But
now
when
the
they
actress,
thought that, the actress.
Now the actress, did she die? I don't remember her death. I remember she was stabbed multiple times and there was a big strange
They don't know
conspiracy and
where she
situation.
actually died. She was
But was it
found.
still was she
She
still
was.
staying at the hotel when
She
she was
was.
murdered?
They said that they saw her. Someone said that they saw her at the hotel. And her luggage was at the bus station across the street. So they said that, but she had never actually checked into the hotel, apparently.
Right.
Like her name was never on the register.
But it's not uncommon for actors and actresses even back then to use aliases,
Right.
not to use their real names.
Right.
They have a report of her and some other people at the there was a bar attached to the hotel. And so they had reports a couple days prior to her being found that they saw her with some friends at that bar and that she was being harassed by a man. But yeah, they never actually have her listed on the registry at the hotel.
Right.
It doesn't mean that she didn't spend the night with somebody, maybe her girlfriend was staying there or something. I don't know.
Right. Or maybe she never got a chance to check in. Maybe she disappeared that night and then was just found.
Or she could have met someone at the bar and, went to them and had a good time.
Right. Because that's what they said, that she was with, I think, 2 girlfriends at the hotel bar.
Yeah.
They were being harassed by a man. But then I think they said she left with 2 girls and 2 guys.
Yeah.
So
I don't know how.
The other thing I wanted to touch on is, I'm sorry, go on, Bashful.
I don't know how that, there wasn't more reports of the Night Stalker walking in the damn hotel with blood all over his underwear and all over his feet.
Right.
And people just ignored it.
Yeah.
I don't understand how they did
me and Doris talked about that last week too. And they were like, well, because it was common for the druggies just to run around naked and act crazy, and they just ignored it.
Yep. They said between all the homeless that had mental health problems, all the people that were on drugs, it wasn't uncommon to see people walk around in their skivvies or even walk through the hotel naked.
But with blood on them, Doris?
Right. I was just going to say.
Is that common?
I was just going to say, but they never said why no one questioned the blood. But then again, too, someone said, but if you've ever seen the Night Stalker, would you really approach him? The crazy
True,
look
but they
that
didn't
he always
know.
had. Right. But he
they
always
didn't
had
know
that,
he was the Night Stalker.
But the look on his face, Lisa, he always had a crazy look on his face. And that's what they said.
Well, you could tell the picture behind you, he looked crazy.
Oh, yeah, they said he didn't walk in just normal with all the blood and stuff in there. He went in there tripping out and being insane, but still I don't know.
That's why I was gonna bring up to you too, Bashful, because they said Elisa did the same thing in the lobby. She just started bugging out and she was walking around acting crazy and stuff.
Yeah.
And then we discussed him doing it, and we discussed someone else doing it. It's the hotel, something's in the hotel,
right.
You know what I mean? I don't want to start a whole bunch of conspiracy stuff because that shit pisses me off. But because of him and then Elisa and the other reports, it almost makes you there's something there making them that way. You know what I mean? And I'm not, then the ones jumping out windows and shit, they were saying people checked in to commit suicide.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
I like to get through it because I'm just not really into a lot of blood and gore. But American Horror Story, I think it was number 4.
I was gonna go watch that this weekend.
Yeah, it's loosely based on or inspired. That's what I should say. Inspired by the hotel. it was just a little bit too bloody for me to be able to watch it. But I'm a
Ken said they probably thought it was makeup, not blood.
It is
Good
Hollywood.
point.
That's true.
Good
but
point, Ken.
yeah. And then you have the guy from Austria.
Dorito said when they caught him, when they found him, he got beat on by a neighborhood, basically till the cops came.
Yeah, that was the
neighborhood beat him.
That was the only way the cops caught him, was because the neighborhood, he broke into somebody's house and tried to steal a car.
Luca's mother. Wait, you talking about me, Twisted Art, or
no, Judy Manelli and
oh, okay.
But yeah, he tried to steal someone's car, and the husband or the father came running out and yelled to his neighbors that it was the Night Stalker, and they basically beat him up and held him there for the cops.
You can look at him, Dorito, and just look at his face and tell he's pure evil. Now, the one that was clever about this shit is the other serial killer that they thought was a reporter, and he looked clean cut.
He wasn't a reporter.
He was a reporter.
No, he was a reporter. He was like, that's why he got away with it so long. He got along with as many murders as he did, because his community, like, he went to prison before for being a serial killer, and they let him.
Yep.
And then he became a reporter. In his community, like, they got around him. They protected him. Like, no way, these cops are stupid. There's no way he's involved in this. And,
because he was supposedly staying there to get to do research on a book he was writing.
Yeah, he came
about homeless or drug use or something like that.
Prostitute. No, he can't. That's what
I love Vanessa.
So that's why he was riding along with the police officers, and they were showing him where all the prostitutes were hanging out and all this stuff.
Yep.
And he would go back and kill them.
Yep. So they basically gave him a street map on how to find his victims.
What they did. Exactly what they did. And he did it internationally. Like, he was
right.
He's a bad man.
Now he didn't look like Ramirez. You know, Ramirez looks evil. Right. He looks crazy. You know what I mean? And that's a good point too. Alexis said the blood could have came from a bad vein when he was trying to get a hit. That's true too.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand him, like, you know, not necessarily going to murder, but as soon as they saw him, but just him running
running around in your underwear, just woohoo.
What was he paid? $14 a week or something like that.
$8, $4, $5 or something a day.
She said that some people even paid as little as $3 a day or $3 a week, because they basically went off of what they got from the state.
Yeah.
For the residential rooms.
Yeah. That's insane.
So does the chat have any questions? It's good to see so many people here talking to us about it.
That's very true, the dude.
That's very true.
That's very true, the dude. So is there any questions the chat has for us about the Cecil Hotel? And this isn't the only Cecil Hotel. Did you guys know that? There was 2 more.
Oh.
I don't think it's the same people, but there was when I looked up the Cecil Hotel, there was one in the UK, and there was another one. I forgot where that one is, but that one was closed down.
What if we did like a stream? Because Mark is bringing up that he would love for us to bring or talk about the paranormal side of it. What if we did like a stream about different, like maybe even different hotels that have a lot of paranormal?
We could do that. I was thinking about talking to you guys about doing the paranormal, but I wanted to see if Skeeter wanted to join us, because he's doing that linear connection.
Yeah, he's good with the linear numbers.
That like cuts into the Cecil, and the Cecil's right on that line.
And Skeeter has the paranormal background, because he's a paranormal investigator. He's got a team and all that. So that would be good to have him come on and talk about it with us. I mean, we can even, what sucks is that Bashful can't use StreamYards because we could have did it on Skeeter's channel and ours, but
Well, I did.
what drove that place to be so evil? I think it's,
The other day.
With all the years of it being
I think because it damn near was evil from the moment it opened.
Right.
So I think, and when it opened, I don't, and Dorito, if he's still here, he can correct me. I don't believe the neighboring was, I don't think it was like Skid Row,
No.
you know,
No.
back when it first opened. So I think later on when Skid Row became a something that's a part of it. But I think it has a lot to do, if the building itself is evil, I think it has to do with the land.
Right.
Yeah.
Because most times if all this shit's happening damn near since the building opened, it's the land.
Right.
And then it attaches to the building and everything else. So it may just be the land.
Right. Because I believe I saw a video where they said even when the building was being built, they had like 3 different people that were building it that like had heart attacks or something like that during the process of the building of the building.
And it bleeds.
Yeah, I heard the same thing. I watched some of Ghost Adventures stuff on the Cecil Hotel. I saw that too. And it scared Zach. It actually it scared him because that was his first time experiencing anything like that. So they had put Richard Ramirez's picture in a newspaper so he could be found. The neighborhood beat him with sticks. There was a video of it. Yeah, Bruce, Dorito was just telling us that too until the cops came.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that, damn it, Jenna. Skid Row didn't. Yeah. See, like Dorito said, Skid Row didn't exist back then. So it has to be the land. It has to be, because like we said, it damn near became all these deaths and all this crazy shit happened damn near as soon as they opened the doors. You know what I mean?
You got to figure the building opened in the 1920s.
Yeah, I think it was 1927 is when it opened.
Right.
And in
It was 1927.
Yeah, 1931 is the first reported
Suspicious
suicide.
death.
Yeah, it was a reported suicide. It was he took some poison pills.
And then what concerns me, it doesn't concern me. What boggles my mind is now this new developer wants to put a pool and a gym and a helicopter thingy on top of the Cecil's roofs. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, great. Now we're going to have drownings and people are going to bludgeon each other with gym equipment. And
but you know what?
There's no way to keep people off of the fire escapes because you have to have them open so that people will get down on.
Right.
Can't block those off from, and if you don't fix the environment around it, you're going to have so many.
And not only that, but I think they would have to do something to cut off the water towers, especially now. They would have to block them up because then anybody that's on the roof could have access to 700 rooms water supply. Because that was one of the things that was brought up in the documentary. Was they didn't know how.
Hello, hey, you guys.
I think that was one thing that I can't remember which one of them talked about it, but that the city didn't have an ordinance where they had to have locks on their water tanks, but now they do.
Right, now they do. Back then they didn't. Bash was right. They said in the documentary they didn't feel the need that there would have to be an ordinance to put locks on a water tank. And to me, it sounded funny too. I'm not gonna lie. It sounded, what the hell would you need a fucking lock on a whatever. But now there's an ordinance. So,
well, just think about it though, Lisa. Like there's some pretty sick fucks out there. You get that many people in a hotel, go up there and dump a bunch of fucking poison in their damn water supply and you kill it all.
Right. I get it. I get why they're doing it now, but who would have thought that you would have to, what But I get it now. I get it.
Especially where they said that even when the hotel first opened, or especially when the hotel first opened, it was used by a lot of rich,
Right.
hot, big known business people.
Yeah.
So it's like if
Uh-huh.
somebody wanted to put a contract on their rich husband's life and knew he was staying there, what better way to do it without being caught but to like poison the water? I mean, granted, you take out a whole bunch of other people, but
Yeah, but think about how many
Right.
people want to be infamous, you know?
right,
I'm the world's largest serial. I killed the most people.
right. I mean, and like they said,
Right.
like domestic terrorism.
Yeah. Hey, you guys. I like that name.
I'm melting.
I'm melting. Doritos
Doritos melted to
melting.
sleep.
Lucky Dorito.
um,
Yourself.
so yes, I think it's the land. I think it's. And
Think
then
so.
now it's just because even people before the Cecil Hotel, even the manager that was in that documentary said if you went past that 15th floor and went up after a certain time, you just felt creepy, like your hair stood up and like you just got.
Yep.
Unless she said when she first started there, she was dressed all up in her pearls and you know how they're supposed to dress, and the guys walking her around the hotel showing her it, and there's just dope fiends and hookers and they're all laying out in the hallway and stuff, and then someone came out yelling to him. It was the maintenance guy. They came out yelling to him about someone overdosed in the room, and he went in there and made them call the paramedics. And she said, "How many people have died in here?" And he just laughed. He said over 50. And then after that, they were just going down the hall. And he said, someone died in there. Someone was murdered in there. Someone died there. And she said she just felt overwhelmed.
Yeah, hey you guys. I'm not sure. It might be interesting for next week if we look up the history of that certain area, like before, like civilized settlement. Like maybe if there was out in California, like a lot of African American land, or
Or
even like
native land
more.
too.
Yeah.
I
That's what I
don't
meant.
deaf
I didn't
breed.
mean
I don't
African.
think this has anything to do with water control. Elisa Lamb fucking laying in a water tank. That was her. That they wasn't trying to control the water. She just I don't in her state of mind, who knows what made her want to play in the water. I know, right, Dorito? Oh God, Dorito.
Well, and that still, like, even just thinking about that creeps me out so bad. Can you imagine for more than almost 3 weeks, drinking water that someone's dead body has been sitting in?
Oh, brushing your teeth, drinking it. Oh,
right.
Oh,
showering.
I don't
yes, that's what we're talking about, Deaf Breed. We're talking about it's the Cecil Hotel.
It's a creepy fucking hotel.
There's a lot of creepy stuff. And David Jenna is good at looking into like all this stuff, the land and stuff. So maybe we can have her help us look into the land.
David Jenna, you got your homework
David Jenna is
assignment.
very good at that. Yeah, she's always offering to help us. Doris said hi. Bashful's here too. You just don't see her.
Hi. Hello.
Bashful, tell her she has to get rid of the emoji outfit you bought her. It don't fit her no more, and she won't get rid of it. See, she just said she's not going to get rid of it.
She's not going to get rid of it. Maybe she just needs a new one.
Yeah, what she said. Maybe just need a new one.
Don't mind me. I'm just laying here on the floor doing my best impression of a human speed bump and licking the concrete. Yeah. What does that look for, damn it, Jenna?
Izzy, tell your mom to send me your size.
She said, "Who is this Jenna?"
Who's this? That would be you. That would be you.
It would be Jenna of the Roundtable.
Yes.
Has been giving a homework assignment to help the Roundtable report.
Aren't you the, what is she? The master of the links or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go, Jenna.
The goddess of the links.
Of the links. You're the goddess of the links, Jenna. Who else would we go to ask for help?
Right? We're trying to keep you employed with your linking.
Cannabis clothes. Oh, Jesus. All right, Dev, breed.
Well, if you want a little history lesson, that's why hemp became illegal, was because of the cotton farmers that didn't want to compete with hemp farmers. So they lobbied to the government. So instead of having hemp clothes like we used to have back in the day, now we have cotton clothes.
Very interesting.
No, Bashful's not in South Dakota. 2 years ago, Bashful bought Izzy this emoji outfit for Christmas. And that's what I've been arguing with her with. Because it don't fit her and she won't get rid of it.
Well, just send me your size.
She let me, she convinced me to let her keep the unicorn sparkly shirt you bought her. The one, you know, with the sequences that go up and down. She talked me into framing it.
So, dear Jenna, we want you to look up the history of the land around the Cecil Hotel. Back before, like, the hotel was built, to see if, like, there's any native land there. Maybe it's built on a native grave or burial land. Or maybe it just has a
Could have
lot
been
of
some type of war or something.
Mexicans that lived there at one time drinking bleach and it soaked into the cement. And
Hey, I hear you. I hear you, chick.
I know
All
you
right,
can
ladies,
hear me.
gentlemen, and germs. Before 2 years, it's just not broken. I know, right, Shannon Naylor? How rude of me. So we're gonna end this stream and start a regular roundtable stream because we try to keep the roundtable reports separate from our shenanigans. So everybody that's here in chat right now, you give me a few minutes, we're gonna start up a regular roundtable stream. And then everyone can, join us and we can have the regular shenanigans where you pick on fucking Mark and, we pick on each other. And Bashful, if you want to go deeper down the pot rabbit hole, look up Howard Hughes and highlight cigarettes and how he tried to legalize pot hemp. 21 and 53 per night are the room rates. Last time I stayed in LA, I paid $129 for a room.
Yeah, the $21, Bruce, are the hostel rooms. So you stay with 3 people that you don't necessarily know. You're basically paying $21 for a bed at a bureau with a shared bathroom.
Right.
It's
and some
like
of them
common
rooms
bathroom.
in Cecil, some of the rooms in the Cecil Hotel are just run. I mean, I know they're remodeling it and stuff, but it was gross.
Yeah, they
some
showed
of them rooms.
on that documentary, they showed the lobby, which is beautiful. But they said once you get into the elevator and step off the elevator, no matter what floor you're on, it's all run down and grungy. And
now, there was a couple that came from the UK that stayed in the Cecil Hotel. They're the ones that first reported the smell and the nasty taste of the water. And they said they stepped on the rug and it was just sticky.
Yeah.
You could feel that like the sleep.
Your feet stick to the fucking
my
floor.
OCD would have.
Oh, God.
I know my OCD would have went insane.
Can you imagine what you're stepping in and what's making your feet?
No, I don't want to imagine. That's why my OCD would have went crazy. I don't want to imagine.
No, here's what's bad. We were kids, and so they would get a hotel room with just one bed, and they'd put a blanket down the floor and stick us kids on the fucking floor. And there's 4 of us, so he's rolling all over that dirty ass sticky floor.
Oh my God,
Mark.
I want to say something to Dorito. Marijuana pot is not hemp.
I just want to say, Mark, I have proof that not all Texans drank bleach. Twisted Art Lady did not drink any bleach, and I believe she is from Texas.
All right, ladies, gentlemen, and germs, we are going to end this stream because it's midnight, and we're going to restart another roundtable stream because, like I said, we try to keep the roundtable report and the regular roundtable shenanigan crazy stream separate. So give me about 5 more minutes, and we'll have a new stream back up.